All right, take number 3. I've been trying to kill a fly. All of a sudden, there's a fly in my house that wants to fly around and be in the video, of course. Anyway, so I have a new goal or a new plan of action for my trip I have coming up. I have a trip, as I told you guys, for 3 weeks, solo trip to the Pacific Northwest. I was going to go down to California and come up, but to go see my son for like a day or so adds like $1,500 or more onto the trip. He's in the Navy down in San Diego, so I plan to come up the coast, all that. So my plan this time is to instead, because I just saw him probably not even a year ago, he came out here on vacation. My son's 20, my middle son's 22 years old, so he's all right. He's in San Diego, he's all right. But anyway, so my plan is to go up through, because I want to stop in Salt Lake this time for just like a day or so, go check it out. I always want to check out that little city, and then cut across and go through Northern California and come up. So my plan this time ain't come up the coast. I want to go through Humboldt County and all that, just check out these little mountain towns and stuff as I come, and then cut across and come up the more northern part of the beach in California for a day or so, then start hitting Oregon and Washington and checking out stuff, go back to Eugene. I want to check out Salem, Tacoma, and Washington, and of course Seattle. A bunch of different little places around that area, places we may be interested in moving in 5 years, 4 to 5 years, when my youngest son is 18. So with that being said, so I've been saving money. I work in healthcare. I've told people that before. I do all types of things on the side. I'll do eBay here and there. I've always loved buying and selling things, here and there. Right now I'm holding everything that I can buy and sell. So I'm holding everything until probably next month, and I'll start putting up the stuff I have to sell to help fund my vacation. I also have 2 jobs. So I work in healthcare. I've worked in it for years and years. I work in behavioral health. I've done other jobs, of course, and I've done business jobs while still working in healthcare because it works around it. But I was like, all right, I'll grind out all this overtime, do all this. I have a savings fund going on right now for my vacation, because even though I'm going to get paid while I'm down there, my plan is to fund my trip with savings that is saved specifically for vacation. Okay. My lady comes home. She's also in healthcare. She's an RN. And she's like, hey, I saw this thing. They're giving $1,000 for donating your blood, right? I'm like, whatever. I'm not doing that. You have all these negative connotations of it. Even though I work in healthcare, outside of healthcare, I'm like, no, because, this and that. Well, she said, you were talking about your vacation. It might just fund your vacation. You don't have to work a bunch of overtime and come home, dead tired and, kind of stressed out, because behavioral health is not an easy gig when you're dealing with people's problems all the time, say for 12 hours a day or 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. Sometimes it gets to you. It gets to you a lot if you do not pace yourself in it. I said, okay, I'll sign up and see. So I signed up, did the physical and everything, and I'll put the link in the description. It's BioLife is the one I use. There's plenty of them, depending on where you live, whatever they have. But they're running a lot of deals, and giving blood is still, regardless of what I believe in regards to my negative connotation bias I had about it, regardless, it's very important. And there's a lot of people in this world that really need that blood, regardless of COVID and all that. There's regular people that's what they need, whatever, certain illnesses that they have, or surgeries or whatever. So I went in there, did the physical. First off, when I went in there, I had this whole expectation of getting in there, and there's all types of people in there. Some people look like college students. Some people look like they're barely, 18, and, they're just probably trying to get some extra money. And some people look like, they may be going through some things in life. But it was a good mixture of people. The place was super clean. It was healthcare, as healthcare professionals in there. So it was ultra clean. The longest part was the physical part, that whole initial process that you do. They find out I'm a veteran too. I asked them about the $1,000. Oh yeah, we'll give you $100 and some extra dollars. I will give you $100 and some dollars per time you get blood. Oh, okay, cool. How long does it take? About an hour, usually after your initial consultation, which was an hour, about an hour, I'd say, for the initial, and to give blood was another hour. So it took me, I want to say, about 2.5 hours. And I'll tell you the reason it took even longer than what it was expected. So with that being said, I get in there and see I'm a veteran. They give me another coupon. I said, oh, let's put this on your board. So it gives me another extra $50 for the 10. You have to give 10 of them for $1,000, basically. So they hooked me up to the machine, and one of the things I will, if you do decide to do this for whatever whatever reason you have, make sure you hydrate yourself and you eat pretty good. My mistake with it is I came off a night shift and I don't eat that well on nights. What I mean is I don't eat like meals, I don't do anything like that. Now I know, and I didn't hydrate well enough. So if you don't do it as well, they have a certain cutoff that they have, and they'll say, well, you need to come back another day because your level's not high enough. I was within the level, but since I was right at that level, it took longer to get my plasma because of that. So if I'd hydrated much better, like a normal person, and ate like a normal person when I was on night shift, and at least got up and ate a decent breakfast too, instead of a granola bar, it would only took probably with me 40 minutes to an hour. And so now I know that for the next time. So it'd be, because the next one's supposed to be, it shouldn't take more than an hour, is what I'm told. And I could see, because I was looking at other people's, because they have like numbers up there, like tells you what level you are for your plasma, or how much you need, or whatever they have to do. And mine was much higher than a lot of people around me, which means other people were a lot more prepared. So they were getting in after me and they were done before me. I was like, dang, oh man, I learned. Anyway, I did it. They say, here you go, here's a credit card. Okay, just going home, and before I even got out of the place, I just checked the app, because they give you an app to look at. They had already deposited $135 in this account for me giving blood, and I did nothing but sit there and listen to music and doodle on my phone. So I want to thank my spouse for it, and then I'm gonna use her as a referral. She's gonna go try it too, just to do it. And I was like, yeah, go do it. I mean, because we like to travel and do stuff, but I'm like, if we can stay out of working like tons of overtime to, fund it, and I'm not saying we're not financially incompetent, but I personally like to make extra money for my vacation versus just pulling out of your regular check or your normal savings account. So I started calculating, because I already got money saved already, and I'm still saving money. But I'm like, I'm going to see if donating plasma until I go on vacation, probably August 5th, my major vacation, August 5th, if this can fund 50% to 80% to 100% of my vacation, or just at a minimum pay for my hotels. Because if my hotels, and when I go by myself, I don't stay in the glitziest hotels either. I'll go to a Motel 6 as long as it's in a decent spot and I don't have to look out my window and check on my car, if you know what I mean. Now with the spouse and everything like that, yeah, you change it up. I do a little bit better, because she's a little bit different with me. I'll stay in a normal place, type of thing. And so I'm not spending a ton on that. But with that being said, I'm like, this is kind of cool. And I'm like, really like it. I came in here and made a little extra $100 and some bucks. I make triple that when I go into work, yes. But when I come home from work, like I'm talking about an extra shift, or and how do I explain it? When I work a lot more, but the mental health piece of it is there though too. I know when I've spent too much time at work. And other people, and it's not just behavioral, I know some other people are like that too. You're like, oh man, I got the money, but man, it was a soul sucker. The last one, I didn't want to put in another day there. But anyway, I did it, and they paid me right away. So the money just sitting in there, and I'm like, leave it. Let's get some more of it. And so I set up another appointment. So I could have did it the day after the next day, but I had work and stuff like that. So I have appointments set for later on this week. But I wanted to, sometimes we look at life hacks and stuff, and I'm not telling people not to work or anything. And like I said, I've always been a hard worker. I have 2 jobs. I work part-time in healthcare at one of my jobs, which in healthcare, I can work full-time hours. Anybody that works in, if you know how it works, if you work in actual hospital settings. But then I have another hospital that I work at where I can work more. It's my new job, and it actually pays me more. And it's 12-hour shifts, and they have these incentives built in regardless if you work overtime or not if you come in when you're called in. So it's like extra, 15 with night shift because I'll do night shifts a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times. If I do a night shift, they call me and say, can you come in and text me, can you come in and do a night shift? I get an additional $23 an hour for that 12-hour shift on top of my regular pay. And that's not an overtime. That's just now if I was overtime, I'd get my overtime and an additional 23. So this is the job that I just picked up. Is going to replace my other job I've been at 10 years. That's been my part-timer. But I wanted to share it with people because I know, and that's for people, that have a job, don't want to pick up extra hours, or someone you're underemployed, or you got some type of disability, not the type of disability prevents you from giving blood, but just some type of disability where you can only work in a certain amount of hours. Maybe this may help you. Maybe you're on the road, and you got, set income, you're a remote worker, but your pay's not that high, or you just want extra money, or you just want extra money. I was like, when I went in there, what I was thinking and all that stuff. And I'm telling you, someone who's been in healthcare 20 years, who works in a business where I have to treat everybody the same, regardless of what they think about me, how they act towards me, how they treat me, all that stuff, or they treat their fellow patients. I have to stay unbiased. I still held biases in regards to going and giving blood, even though I know how important it is. And for me, it might be even larger for me because I work in behavioral health. I've worked in behavioral health, addictions, you name it, I've done it. So I see a cross section of the population, and it can jade you a little bit, especially if you spend too much time in it. And my goal for the last year or two was, let's start slowing it down some. As I finished school, I'm getting my doctorate, more to do consulting, and also I really want to teach online, things like that. Just mental health. I want to spend more time with my kid. I want, that travel bug hit me hard, and it hit me because my midlife crisis was not, I'm 40 some years old. My midlife crisis was not going out and getting a Porsche or getting a Tesla or anything like that. I've had a lot of cars over the years. I've had some really cool cars. I've had probably more cars than a lot of people. At the end of the day, all that didn't mean anything. Once I started hitting my midlife crisis was, dude, you need to get out and do some more stuff. You need to go enjoy nature. You need to go check out some cities. You need to go eat some good food. You need to just adventure. That right there is more important to me than spending 60 hours at work. Get your, making sure your finances are in order, making sure you got everything where you can pay your bills with a certain amount of money and how much you're gonna have left. And if you wanna go into work, you can make more money. Or for me, I know how much I need to make. And all this is for me, is funding my vacation while doing something good for society, doing something good for, people that need blood transfusions and all that stuff. So I just wanted to share it with people. I thought it was a good idea. At first I did not, but then I did. I was like, dude, this is easy. Like literally, by the time I got up and they took my folder up to the front desk, there was $135 in my account that they hold for you. They have an account, and you could use it right away if you wanted to, by the way, anyone who's on the road. I was like, okay, that was painless. The only thing I did do, because they wrap your arm up and, put a gauze on and bandage you all up, is I took that off right away before I went to a store, because I didn't want nobody thinking like I was shooting up there, looking at you like, watch this dude, he's going to be trying to steal the whole place, because I want to, someone coming up to me, do you need help, sir? You struggling or anything? We got some resources for you, things like that. But that was my own thing, being self-conscious about it. But anyway, I wanted to share this with everybody, and maybe it gives you a good idea of things, some other little hacks for life. If you're healthy enough and you feel comfortable doing it, that's easy money without putting in a lot of work. I know there's people out here doing Uber, doing a bunch of gigs, I envy you, and I respect you because you're trying to put a bunch of things together to survive and do what you need to do and live the life you want to live. Not necessarily survive, but live the life you want to live. But if you haven't done this and you're one of those gig workers, or you got some vacations coming up, or you just want to do good for society, but also you're able to put a little money in your pocket, I highly recommend giving blood, or plasma. I think it's a good thing. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna give you an update. I'll do an update in July 1st. And then I'll do an update right before I go on vacation in August to tell you how much money I've accumulated for my trip. In regards to just not what I have in my savings, but what I've done for blood transfusions. And the cool thing is it's separate from my bank account, so it stays in another thing, and I have a debit card for it. But I'm excited because I was planning out to doing all this crazy overtime, and I can do it. I'm blessed enough that I've been in my business long enough that I'm paid really well for what I do. But man, it takes an emotional toll on you and a little bit of a physical toll on you if you spend too much time in the business I'm in. And there's other businesses that some of you can comment on too that does the same. also, and makes you feel like that when you put a little too much effort, or not effort, too much time. Well, you can say effort too, because it takes a lot of effort to do some certain jobs and a lot of things when you're dealing with people you got to deal with. And you leave out of work and you still hear them talking in your ear's just ringing still from dealing with all this. Anyway, this is Frugal Panda out here in Aurora, Colorado, next to Denver, Colorado. I hope everyone's having a good day. And of course, enjoy your summers. And kids about to be out of school. If you got kids, go have some fun. If you don't have kids, go have some fun.